So I've been into fuzz pedals for a really long time, and one of my favorites has always been the EHX Big Muff. I got one of these in my early 20s. It was a early 2000s NYC muff, and then got into a bunch of different bands that were into like the Black Russian muffs, the Green Russians, and built a few clones of the Civil War muff. They're known for a really big fuzz sound. They often get really lost in the mix once you add drums and a bass player. So a couple of years ago I designed the MF-4 for Fuzzlord effects and did a whole bunch of the tweaks that I thought the Big Muff needed after playing them for quite a few years. So in this video we're going to check out what this pedal sounds like, talk about a bunch of the mods that I did to the circuit to make it better for heavy, low tunings, not get lost in the mix with the mid control and the adjusted tone stack, the inspiration behind it, but first we're going to hear what it sounds like in a full mix. Don't go anywhere, and don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. So even though this is one of my favorite fuzz pedals of all time, when I first got this pedal, I played it for a couple weeks, and the first thing I did was sell it to get some cash to get some different pedals on my pedal board. If you played Big Muff before, you know that they have a huge amount of output volume, very iconic mid-scooped tone stack, and they sound huge when you're playing by yourself, but unfortunately when you start getting into stuff like doom metal, tuning to C standard and below, a lot of times they just kind of disappear from the mix. So after I got into electronics more and started studying circuits, I started to ask myself why this happens. The Big Muff has a very pronounced scoop in the mid section, and it sounds great when you're playing by yourself, but once you go into the band setting, it really gets muddy sounding and lost in the mix. The other thing I noticed when I was messing around with different muff circuits was each of these muff circuits had something good about them. Like the NYC muff has a bit more gain than the Green Russian and the Black Russian, but the EQ control isn't quite dialed in for low tunings. The Green and the Black Russian are really popular with bass players and people that down tune their guitars, but they don't quite have the cutting gain that the modern NYC has available. They all seem to have the same problem where they have such a drastic scoop in the mids that once you add them into a band mix, they really get lost, especially when you're doing drop tunings. So when I was doing the Fuzzlord MF-4, that was something I really focused in heavily. So the MF-4 is kind of a combination of a couple different Big Muffs. It has the really aggressive gain staging that the NYC muff has. There's a lot of gain on tap. The tone control is heavily inspired by the Green and the Black Russian muffs that work better for low tunings and aren't just so harsh sounding above noon. But something really special that I did with this pedal was put a dual mid control on here. When you turn it one way, it affects the mids on the upper half of the tone control. When you turn it the other way, it affects the mids on the lower half of the tone control. There's quite a few boutique pedals out there that have a control to adjust the amount of mid scoop. A lot of times they only work at the upper end of the tone control's rotation and basically are useless unless the tone is basically cranked. So I did a mid filter that adjusts the lower and the upper mid frequencies. So we're going to go ahead and check out a demo. I'm tuned to B standard, playing some Bongzilla riffs, and really want you to check out what this pedal sounds like and how many different tones you can get out of the mid control and the tone control combo, as well as the aggressive gain settings at max gain and the huge amount of level on tap, just like the NYC muff. I want you to let me know in the comments what you think of the Fuzzlord MF-4. If you want to check this out on the website, go to fuzzlordeffects.com. There's going to be a link in the description. I'm also curious to know some of your favorite bands or musicians that use a big muff, or if you got one on your pedal board, let me know what other pedals you use with it. I'm Jason from Fuzzlord Effects. I really appreciate you watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the weekly videos that I put out. And if you want to see some more behind the scenes action of what I do here at Fuzzlord, check out the Patreon page, link in the description. We do some behind the scenes, some Q&A over there, some pedal giveaways, and we always do a pre-release on new pedals that are coming out over there with a special discount. So big thanks to everybody's names that are running on screen right now. These are all the Patreon supporters that help support what I do here on the YouTube channel. Again, I'm Jason from Fuzzlord Effects. Thanks for checking out the MF-4. I'll talk to you in the comments. And if you want to hear what the MF-4 sounds like on bass, I'm going to leave a... If you want to hear what the MF-4 sounds like on bass, head on over to fuzzlordeffects.com. I linked a video in the MF-4 page over there to Beholden to the Riff that did a really badass demo of the MF-4 all on bass. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll talk to you in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.